Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. Whenever I bring a quad, a trike, a motorcycle home, first of all I try to pay the parts price for it. And in this case, this is a $120 Craigslist 1982 ATC200. So the first thing I try to do is try to buy it for the parts price. And for this bike, $120 I would consider a very fair price for the parts. Then I go the next step and I try to figure out what potential I'm going to call it a bike or a cycle, what potential the cycle has. So I start looking it over. What parts does it have and what parts is it missing? What extra did it come with? Things just off the top of my head when I'm thinking about it. Obviously, I dragged it here. That tire went pretty flat overnight. He must have put air in them before I picked it up. These two tires were holding quite a bit of air. They match. So I don't know if I'm going to get away with slamming that tire back to life or if it truly is done. I saw one of those chewing tobacco things sticking out of it like my thumb in one spot, so it does have a pretty good puncture. So it might just be these tires every time they go out might need to be aired up. These are the right tires for this bike. I'm not thinking they're OEM original, though they could be, because normally what happens, the chain wears, and then to change the chain, a lot of times the whole chain guard assembly does not come back on. A lot of times the chain guard cover on the motor doesn't come back on. So given that's all there is a possibility, not a great possibility, but there is a possibility these are OEM. I think they are, yeah, they're CHEN Changens or something like that. So they could be original. And by the way, the back wear more or less matches, and the front tire has a little less wear on it. Once again, they're all the same tire, so they could be original. So there is a good possibility this thing doesn't have that many miles on it. I believe it was stored inside, because if it wasn't, there'd be no seat left. And the gas tank, though somebody sanded it, you can see the sand marks on it, it's actually in halfway decent shape inside. And along the bottom edges where they normally rot out, actually looked, and as I run my hand across there, they actually feels pretty good. So there's a good possibility this thing just doesn't have that many miles on it. One of the things that I really don't like, besides I don't mind that this is on there, I just wish they welded it to the shifter bar only. It looks like they did quite a bit of cobbing to the shifter shaft. And the scary thing, when you see that, a lot of times then they begin to leak oil. To do any work on it, I have to cut and replace the shifting shaft. Not that big a deal, $20 eBay item. Yeah, once again, just looking at it, it doesn't look like it's got a million miles. I'm thinking it might have some kind of ignition problem, because you see stuff like these being chewed up and wires taken off. If I had the gas tank off, you can, I mean, there's the the CDI right there. So the bolts on the exhaust are an original. They normally have the rounded ones. So it's been messed with a little bit. It does still have the compression release cable for the recoil starter. Though the recoil is gone and the recoil basket, oops, yeah, there you go. Get things aimed in the right direction. So that's the compression release for the recoil. The cable's here, the rest of it's gone. So the recoil's gone, and the recoil basket, the thing the dogs come out and grab onto to turn the engine over, are gone. All these holes look like they're in pretty nice shape, and I turned it over, and it seems to have compression. I haven't checked the oil, so as a matter of fact, we could do that. A lot of times you can get an idea about how well it was cared for by looking. The oil, it's well used. It does appear to have oil in it, which is a good sign. So all positive. This thing does have a couple of unique features. This is the first ever dual exhaust three-wheeler. Pretty cool, huh? So it looks like they bring the pipe back right, and then they kind of dual exhaust it way back here. Am I showing? I'm not showing you much of anything. Here, let's look at it that way. You can see where they dual exhaust it all the way in the back over the axle. I checked the brakes. I'll be out in a minute. Yes. I checked the brakes, and they actually work. So all very positive. I guess what I'm going to do next, I'm going to dig up a recoil and a basket and see what the compression looks like. And assuming the compression's over 75 psi, after that it's start time. I know, like, it's a neutral. If you it goes into gear, and you can see the engine attempting to turn over. So I think this is going to be a runner and a rider. I think this thing has a lot of potential for coming back to life and being another toy. So though I bought it for parts and paid the parts price, it does not look like it's going to be a parts bike. It's going to be another keeper. So good and bad. Good because whenever you could get a great deal, you always want to get it. Bad because back to the space considerations. I am considering a construction project. Well, forget considering. I really should do that construction project in the spring, because I want to get this place emptied out and turn it into a shop. And I keep buying these bikes and bringing them in here. I try to keep my average down to a bike a month, in, buying, whether it's a three-wheeler, four-wheeler, mini bike, two-wheeler, whatever. I try to keep my purchases down to one a month. And I do have some stuff leaving. I have somebody who's after the Bolin stuff, and once they go, I'm going to look into losing the international stuff and all. If everybody's after this guy, the Sears 16. I bought it because I paid the parts price for it. I really wanted the engine out of it as a spare for the Cushman underneath there. But for the Sears lovers, I'm told it's blasphemy to take an intact SS16 apart, because they're so hard to find. So I don't know. I need an Olin's engine, and they're also hard to get a hold of also, so we'll see. Okay, folks, I want to thank everybody for watching and commenting and subscribing. Please remember to keep your feet down, keep your heads up, and get out there and enjoy each and every day. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you didn't, you can give me a thumbs down, but just tell me why. Bye now.